their staffs were incredible, moving furniture. We had all kind of technology issues, and no one really knew because they took care of things. So I want to thank both of y'all and Tim for y'all's hard work. So very well deserved. Let's see. All right, so the high school, y'all have probably ridden by the high school a time or two, but I grabbed this picture last night right before it was thundering and lightning, but I wanted to, y'all seen the front of the school. It's definitely something to be proud of. All right, Tim, is it me? So you have this schedule in your board packet. You actually have dates, and we'll kind of talk about those in a minute. All right, so at the high school, as you see the schedule here, we are on phase 1, and we're on the punch list items only, and that's the yellow section, and I'm going to show you some pictures of how beautiful it turned out here in a second. We're in phase 2. We're looking at the cafe. You'll see a great picture in a minute of that, and we're still working on the floors in phase 2 in the kitchen. We had a little issue with those. They've been there 48 years, and they said Ms. Burgess may have dropped some chemicals on I'm not sure what happened, but no, I'm just picking. So phase 3, Mr. McGinney, I want to thank him for what he's going to do. He's going to hopefully, we're going to start phase 3 and 4 pretty close together. And so that will allow us to move the project along a little bit faster. And when we get to phase 5, it'll take about 12 weeks in the orange section. So hopefully by combining those two demolitions, and we've talked to the contractor, and it's not going to slow us down by giving them both at the same time. They have all their subs available, and so we should be able to move the project along, which is going to help our whole facility plan at the high school. And then we have the overhead, the fire inspection scheduled for January the 8th, the week of January 8th for the new gym. So if things go to schedule, we'll be in the new gym in the 1st of January. So we're excited about that. So is it me, Mackenzie? Okay. All right. So here's the stadium. We've been working on the stadium, cleaning up, painting. So I just wanted to show you a picture. It looks great. There's this overhead aerial of the new gym right here. And so you can see it's starting to take shape. And once they get the walls up, it's gonna start flying, I think. It looks a little slow now, but so we're happy with that. The stadium is going to look good, and they're all got a few more little things to do inside the stadium, so what they're doing. So thank you, Mackenzie, with you. All right, so here's the Panther. I think you've all seen that. I just wanted to kind of show you how those floors and the welcome when kids and parents come into high school, how we welcome them there. And this is one of our new classrooms with the floor, some new furniture. Ms. Bryant did a great job of picking out furniture. Ms. Bryant, you did an excellent job. All right, here's the lighting in the media center, and here is, and most of you have probably seen that, but it's pretty spectacular in the media center. And here's the new cafeteria with the new lighting. You can see that. The floor, this picture doesn't do floors. Does it, Dr. Atkinson? It just turned out phenomenal. So that's the new cafeteria. I think we're going to do a closed bid auction if anybody wants to buy this old carpet. We're going to sell that if y'all want a piece for your office, for your home. This picture, it looks bad, so this picture makes this carpet look pretty good. But so I wanted to show you a picture of the old floor and what the new floor looks like in another hall, and you'll see how clean that looks, and it's just very inviting. And here's the gym. I put the other picture on there just so I would remember to tell you, we have the new air conditioning in the gym. Maybe tomorrow, Robbie, maybe we'll be online with the new air conditioning in the old gym, so hopefully tomorrow. So that was to remind me to tell you that that is in place, and so things are moving good. Here's the bandstand and our practice field back there. I went there a couple of days ago. The grass is really maturing and it looks really good, and so we're proud of all the facilities that are happening in the high school, and so just a few snapshots. Here's the primary school. This is Miss Tillman's new home, and so again, here's your schedule. So we're the overhead inspection is scheduled for 9/1. And that's for the media center and the cafeteria. So that's kind of actually pretty exciting for us to have a new media center. It's going to look real nice. And I have a couple pictures. It's not finished yet, but it looks good. Phase 2 and 3, we're working on punch list items. And then 4, we hope to have completed by October 31st. And then phase 5 is November to January 14th. And phase 6, obviously, January 15th to February 28th, and phase 7, April to March 1st, April 14th, and then phase 8, the last section, should be done by June 1st. So we should be completed with everything by June 1st. So you walk in the elementary school, the picture on the left is really pretty doggone nice, to be honest with you. It's inviting, the paint, the colors, it's just, if you hadn't gone in there yet, you need to go in there because it's a totally different look with the paint, so it looked good. Here's some new floors in the primary school, and the restrooms there. This is a new floor. This is an epoxy floor we put down. That's the same floor. It's a different color, but at the high school, we've got some of those floors going in the primary school. This picture on the right is the old library. And we've turned that into 4 classrooms, and this room is finished for the most part. So a little punch list. This is the new bus loop in the back, and I think they're finished. They got to do a little more concrete on the back of that, but for the most part, that loop is finished with a little more exceptions. So I took a picture of this is the back of the media center. In the cafeteria, just to see the outside. And the picture on the right is actually the media center. It's not quite ready. They're putting in floors supposedly next week, I think. I think that's next week when they're coming. So they're going to be finished. And then the next picture is the cafeteria and the kitchen. So we're hopefully going to have furniture delivered September 5th or so, and then we'll hopefully open around September 15th with those 2 new coming online. So I tell you, we appreciate y'all of supporting us on this, because we're excited about our new facilities, and people are going to be coming here to look at all of our facilities that we're doing, and we're appreciative of what y'all have done to allow us to do that and make this a great school district, great community effort of what our community voted to do. And so we're excited to have world-class facilities here in Little Batesburg, Leesville. So, any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Todd. All right, we will move on to item 6.0, our action items, and 6.1 is the 8% bond resolution approving issuance of 2023 general obligation bonds by Ms. Roden.
Hi, good evening. Tonight I'm here to recommend that we adopt a resolution authorizing us to sell bonds not exceeding $2.5 million under our 8% borrowing capacity. This will allow us to supplement and enhance the current building projects that we've undertaken, and Mr. Biedenbow just did a great job of showing us what we've done thus far, but there's still more to do, and this will help us to achieve that. And this will also allow us to hold the debt service millage to the 94.8 that we presented to the community when we did our 2020 bond issuance. So do you have any specific questions? Okay.
No questions? All right, do we have any motions?
Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend that we take the administration's recommendation and approve action item 6.1, 8% bond resolution approving issuance of 2023 general obligation bonds.
We have a motion from Ms. Carey to approve the 8% bond resolution approving issuance of 2023 general obligation bonds as presented by the administration. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second with Ms. Derrick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 6.2, first reading approval of policy GCQE, GDQC, professional support personnel retirement by Ms. Bryant.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. Our administrative team is bringing before you asking for first reading approval of policy GCQE and GDQC, professional support personnel retirement. This is a policy we'd like to adjust. It's an existing policy that was last updated in December of 2020. And this was something that we as an administrative team would like to do for our retiring employees. And you'll note that the only change you see is that employees with a maximum of 60 accumulated sick leave days, we'd like to recommend that they are paid for 45 of those rather than the existing 25. And employees with less than 60 accumulated sick days will be paid annual leave for, we're recommending 50% of their accumulated sick days rather than the 42%. And again, this is for retiring employees. Do you have any questions?
All right.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we give first reading approval of policy GCQE and GDQC, professional support personnel retirement as presented.
We have a motion from Mr. Kaufman to give first reading approval of policy GCQE and GDQC, professional support personnel retirement as recommended by the administration. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second with Ms. Baltnight. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Bryant, we'll let you go on with 6.3, first reading approval of policy GDCC, paid parental leave.
Yes, ma'am. I am bringing policy GDCC, paid parental leave. This is a new policy for us, but it is largely based on the South Carolina School Boards Association and what they recommended. This is something that we have to put into policy to be in alignment with the law that was passed by Governor McMaster earlier in the year. The only significant deviation from what the school board sent is on the fourth page and highlighted in your board packet, where the district has put some guidelines about how that will be viewed and when that would be eligible based on the occurrence of the event qualifying the employee for that leave. Do you have questions about that one?
I do. I just noticed one thing that I want to ask about. It's the last page, the form that would be completed, where it starts off, I understand that I am entitled. It has 2 weeks and then 5 days in parentheses. Is the 5 days, is that?
Yes, ma'am, that should be 10 days. I'll make that
10, okay.
correction.
I
This
don't
is
know what
actually, right.
made me notice
Yeah, that was just an error, but we will
Okay.
make that correction, and it's not
Okay.
actually part of the policy.
That's right.
So
That's
we
right.
just wanted to give you that for information.
Good. And
We
thank
will make
you.
that change.
Okay, thank you.
Just as a clarification, let me give an example to make sure I understand what we're doing here.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is about this yellow highlighted area that, we're the leave beyond or prior to. So just as an example, possibly if someone has a child, let's say the last week in July, and that's actually before their school year starts. But once their school year starts, would they'd be eligible for the remainder of those days?
That is correct.
That's the way I wanted to make sure about the remainder part. They would miss those first whatever days, but once the school year starts, first day there to report work, that's when they.
Correct, based on their contract terms,
Right.
whether they're 234 or 190 or whatever it would
Okay.
be. That is absolutely correct.
And on page 3, the bottom paragraph, it says paid parental leave, that the paid parental leave must run concurrently with leave taken pursuant to FMLA. That's the language that makes those two line up.
Okay. Other questions?
All right. No more questions? Any motions?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the first reading of policy GDCC, paid parental leave, as presented by the administration.
We have a motion from Ms. Baltnight for first reading approval of policy GDCC, paid parental leave, as presented by the administration. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Carey. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, item 6.4, utilization of land sale balance for softball complex improvement. Ms. Roden?
I'm gonna take it.
Okay, you're in, okay. And Dr. Atkins.
For several years, we've been, exploring the feasibility of trying to add a press box to the existing softball complex, or the softball concession stand, and we have gone round and round trying to find a cost-effective way to do this. At first, we thought that the best thing to do was to add a second story onto what's there, but which would involve tearing off the roof, redoing all the electrical work. But now we're looking at, instead of putting it directly on the roof, shifting a little bit and putting it where you've got the awning there for the concession stand. So we're looking at pulling that forward and having the press box that's actually sitting on the columns, where you've also got the porch where you go up to order. Now, we're in the process of finalizing those details and putting it out for bid, but we feel like it's going to be less than half the cost of what we were originally thinking. So we're asking tonight if we can use the balance of the land sale to be able to put toward the building of the softball field press box.
So what was the cost? Did I miss that?
It's out for bid now, but
Okay.
it's going to be probably somewhere in the 200 range with all the engineering.
Any more questions?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we grant approval for utilization of the land sale balance for the softball complex improvements as presented by Dr. Atkins.
We have a motion from Dr. Gunger to accept the utilization of land sale balance for the softball complex improvements as presented by Dr. Atkinson and the administration. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Baltnight. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. We are now at item 7.0, executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we move into executive session for the discussion of personnel matters.
Have a motion from Ms. Derrick to move into executive session for the discussion of personnel matters. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Baltnight. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. We are now in an executive session.